Tuesday night is comedy night with the one and only Will Gibb. And also check out their website for free deals. They've got Kids Eat Free one night, Palmy night, which is one of their main dishes, so you won't be disappointed.
Best palmy in Sydney. And you know what? Tuesday comedy night, I think they do like 220 different pizzas.
I don't know if it's that many, but yeah.
You know what? Check it out on their Instagram. Find out for yourself. I'm a pepperoni guy.
And I like their prawn one.
Oh, I don't eat seafood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat seafood. My mum
What's your sushi go to? Because sushi is seafood. Yeah.
But it's my favourite food, sushi. But
your favourite food, sushi, but it's chicken schnitzel sushi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my mum used to crumb fish and tell me it was schnitzel when I was a kid, so it's kind of scarred me. Thanks, Nicole. Love you. Anyway, today's guest is.
Look, massive guest. There's not many athletes, and we're going to actually get into this with him, but there's not many athletes that transcend their sport. So really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. So let's get into it, eh? Nick Kyrgios, thanks so much for joining us today, mate.
No worries, boys. Anything for you at 8 a.m?
You get your morning coffee in?
Not yet. I literally just rolled out of bed. No, I got to sleep late last night, but I was looking forward to this.
We really appreciate it. What's been going on? You got Wimbledon coming up?
Yeah, I got a couple tournaments coming up, heading overseas. Pretty much skipped the whole clay court season. Need my time at home. Learned that pretty early in my career. I tried to do that 6-7 months. Got pretty lonely, so just decided to pick out stages of the year where I just kind of stay home with my family, friends, girlfriend, and just enjoy it, and then reset.
So what's that look like? So the Wimbledon's at the end of June, I believe? Yeah,
Wimbledon should be around the end of June. Obviously, I feel like I got a pretty good shot to do well. No ranking points this year, but I think I still, to be able to do well there is and have that on the resume is, a good thing. So I'm going to go there and play.
No ranking points, but what was the prize money we were talking about off there?
I think it's £4.7 million.
Mate,
so
I wouldn't be too worried about the points.
I'm not playing for points anyway, so we'll see.
When did that kind of stop in your career? I mean, obviously early on, I'd assume you'd want to kind of. Everyone talks about top 10 being number one and all this kind of stuff. It feels like, as of late, you've kind of taken a step back from that and you just really wanted to enjoy playing a sport you love and you just so happen to be doing it on the big stage?
Yeah, definitely. I think rankings for me kind of blew out the window pretty early on in my career. It's not something I wanted to, I got up the ranks pretty early in my career and it was like nothing really changed. I felt like people just respected my game rather than my ranking. And, I went on tour like a month ago and I played some of the top guys in the world like Andre Rublev, Kasparov, these guys are top 10 in the world, and I was beating them pretty convincingly. So I just go out there and do my thing. Honestly, I just love showing that I'm capable and believe in myself, and anything's possible really.
What is the reason? Is it so Russia aren't allowed to play in the Wimbledon? Is that the whole
Russia
story behind
and Belarusians aren't allowed to play. So yeah, I think it's for me it's crazy because they most of these players actually kind of spoke out back against Russia, saying like no war and stuff, so they can't even go home. So I don't even know what they're going to be doing those weeks.
I saw the F1 as well. They banned. I think they banned Russian drivers.
It's crazy.
So who's like Medvedev,
Rublev? They've got a lot of decent players in like top 30 that would have a decent chance to do well in Wimbledon.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Talk us through the Australian Open this year. It was. I mean, just to watch, it was just something so different. I mean, tennis is always good. We played social tennis together, actually, and we've always enjoyed watching it. But this was just a whole other ball game. Like you saw in that interview, was like you said that the crowd was like a zoo. Like it was just nuts. How was that whole experience?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think COVID had to play a fair part in it. I feel like I think Melbourne did like 300 days in hard lockdown. So I feel like every time the AO came around, they just wanted to get loose, get rowdy. And it was insane. This year was crazy. I kind of knew that though from the get-go. As soon as I came out there in my singles match, I knew that the crowd was just ready to go. They needed something to get behind. And, I felt like I could start creating a different crowd. That's been my goal the last couple of years. Like I feel like tennis is so boring and it's so just mundane and there's no personalities. And I feel like once those big three guys kind of drop out, Roger, Rafa and Novak, the sport's going to really, really struggle. And, I feel like making doubles interesting. Every time I play, the stadiums are full. The crowd was nuts, man. I love it. There's nothing like it in tennis. I think when I play in Australian Open, it's crazy.
What's that like trying to find that balance? Obviously, there was a few times when you were serving and stuff, and there was just idiots yelling out, and you said a few things back, but I think that goes to show the rapport you had with the crowd.
Yeah.
Is it sort of hard to get that balance with them, or do you think it's just a respect thing?
Well, I guess it's hard to find that balance. I think. Obviously, they you know, even when people see me on the street, like, they think I'm just absolutely crazy. Like, I'm two completely different people on and off the court. Like, on the court, I'm just literally, I can't explain it. I'm just mental, like, really competitive, like, sickly obsessed with just, like, putting on a show and winning. But then off the court, I'm very chilled out. So, I don't know. I think people in the crowd just think I'm full, just nuts, like, literally nuts all the time. So, you know, they're just screaming out. And I don't know. Obviously, when I'm acting like that, it's hard to find the balance because the crowd then thinks it's okay to, you know, act that certain way as well. But I think there's that grey area where, you know, during the point or before I serve, you got to kind of chill out with it a little bit. But I mean, look, the AO experience this year was nuts.
Do you find it hard to compose yourself? I remember there was one point, and I'm trying to think what happened. You pulled wide and cut back a shot, and you took a bow to the crowd, and everyone's going crazy. Your adrenaline just be through the roof. How do you then go back and just serve the next point?
Well, I've been doing it for a long, long time as well, and I've been playing the same way since I was like 10 years old. That's what people think, that I'm trying to act a certain way out there, but I've literally, anyone that knows me, anyone of my close mates, and anyone that's watched me play, like, I was crying when I was 10 years old on court, like, trying to do these like crazy highlight shots, and nothing's really changed. So, I don't know. I just look at my box, I look at my team, and they know that, you know, I've just got the crowd in the palm of my hand, and I just go out there and then just ride the wave. And look, they all know that being with me and being in my team's a bunch of ups and downs. Like, I've ridden the roller coaster my entire life, so it's nothing new.
So you speak about tennis, how it can be quite boring and a bit mundane, and, you know, it's a lot of the old school kind of wear your whites and very traditional. I'll just put it straight to you. When you came in at a young age, you kind of split the nation.
Yep.
You're either loved or you were hated.
Yeah.
And it's just to be frank. How did you deal with that pressure at such a young age and all that being in the spotlight and that emotion that comes with it?
I struggled. I definitely struggled. You know, I was just a normal kid from Canberra who, you know, I was traveling overseas when I was 14. And the beauty about tennis is it was a big eye opener for me. I was going to places like China, India, some rough places in Asia, through Europe as well. And it was massively eye opening to see 14-year-old kids come begging to me. And I feel like I've always had that, you know, tennis. I'm 27 years old, but I feel so old. I feel like I'm 60, the amount I've seen and how much I've dealt with. So I don't know, when I was 18, I was just playing tennis. I was still at school. Like, I was going to school in Canberra, and I don't know, it kind of just changed overnight when I played Nadal. We came back home, there was reporters camping outside my house, and man, I was just a kid, like, just a normal 18-year-old kid who was going to school in Canberra, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I felt like it was tough because then I started dealing with all this negativity that, you know, I don't think any sort of person knows how to deal with in today's day and age, especially with social media and all that type of shit. So I just really struggled, and, you know, I just obviously got told, like, you're the next big thing in tennis, and, you know, there's these large shoes to fill, and I kept trying, and it just ended up kind of snowballing into this big sort of dark cloud. So it was hard, but I had a good, you know, good team around me to kind of try and navigate through it, but I think I had to figure it out myself.
Obviously, there's the doubles aspect, which you really enjoy, but majority is singles.
Yeah.
And a lot of athletes, you know, look at swimmers who are in that individual sport. How hard is it when, you know, you're responsible for your performances, you're responsible for the results? Well, what gets you through that? What bits of advice have you got from legends about coping with that? Because it's vastly different to like a team sport. So
yeah, I think you know, I respect the legends of the sport in tennis, but I feel like they don't really understand, you know, how much athletes of today's day and age really deal with, like, in the social media aspects of, like, for instance, I could just wake up today, go through my Instagram and see millions of negative comments. Yeah. Whereas I just don't think legends of the game understand how, like, dark that can actually be if you take them seriously. But yeah, it's brutal, man. Like, especially tennis playing in Australia, people don't understand, like, you know, if you're from America or Europe on the tennis tour, you lose one tournament, you go back home, you catch like a 5-hour flight, you're back home with your family, you see your dogs, you're comfortable again, then you reset. But Australia, like, you got to grind it out for 6-7 months in a row, and it's brutal. Like, and man, I got into some weird situations, like 5 months into my trip when I was alone, like in places like, you know, Belgium, and you start like doing some weird stuff, and you really you learn a lot about yourself, and because, you know, then the next day you got to be playing against potentially Rafa Nadal after you've just been alone for 6 months, and then that's on TV, and then you might smash a rack, and that's broadcasted all through Australia, and people don't really know what's going on. So, obviously I love the team environment. I love even just when I'm watching like, footy or basketball or soccer, I wish that I played a team sport. I just love leaning on my mates and I love, the travel aspect with them. But tennis and swimming and golf, like, it's brutal. Like, it's to have all that pressure on yourself. I feel like all the cameras always on you. Everyone's watching every move. It's pretty tough.
So we just spoke about the Oz Open and obviously winning with Tanasi, the doubles. But what also happened out of that Oz Open was an Instagram post with you about mental health. Do you want to sort of talk us through that post?
Yeah. I was about in 2019. I think it's crazy because in 2019 I probably had one of my best, I think, result years on the tennis tour. And obviously I learned pretty early on that winning just seems to cure everything. Around you, your family thinks that you're doing fine. Everyone thinks you're doing fine. But that was such a dark year for me because, I was playing 4th round of Australian Open. Obviously, Kobe passed away. With everything with the bushfires was going on. And I was doing my part trying to help with that. And I was just honestly in the worst possible kind of mindset that year. I was obviously self-harming in the photo that I posted. And I just was never able to share it. I didn't feel comfortable coming out. I was almost scared to share the way I was feeling because I don't think Nick Kyrgios was able to feel that way. I don't think anyone would have respected if I felt that way. But then, I shared this post pretty recently. And, I just felt like the amount of messages I've got from that and how many people I've helped and how many people I continue to, I literally go upon myself to go through my Instagram messages and reply to people and get their numbers and stay in contact with them because I just know that, everyone is just really dealing with something. And I feel like I never judge anyone anymore because I've just done some terrible things. I've done some dark things. I've been through so much that all my goal is now is just to guide through people that shit because it was brutal for me. Like it was so hard. I felt so alone and obviously to the point of self-harm and thinking about committing suicide. It was tough. Like, but then winning tournaments seemed to just mask all of it, which was the darkest thing ever. Because the media, I was just watching the media refresh, and it was like, oh, has Nick Kyrgios turned a corner? Has Nick Kyrgios really learned how to put things together? And I was like, winning tournaments for millions of dollars, and having no stresses in the world. But I didn't even want to get out of bed. Do you know what I mean? And like live. I hated like the avatar that was created for me. So it was pretty powerful. And I look back on it with pride, like all that stuff I went through. I almost like seeing someone that I know that's dealing with a lot because I can go up to them and help them. So, yeah.
So to us, looking in at that stage of your life, you'd go play a tournament, you'd win a match,
Yep.
You'd be off the camera.
Yep.
Oh, he's probably gone, had an ice bath,
Yep.
gone, had dinner with his team, had a laugh, woken up the next day and played.
Yeah.
In reality, what was your day looking like?
Well, yeah, it's not so much like that. I was just literally probably drinking every night, probably at least, and this is no word of a lie, probably drinking 20 to 30 drinks every night. Just in my room on my own, waking up playing. In Acapulco, probably one of the biggest tournaments you can play, and I was literally in my room drinking, and I'm about to play my first round, and I'm just like literally contemplating whether I wanted to even live at that point. And I was just standing on the balcony in my room, and my trainer came in, and he was just like, "Look, we got to go out there and play in 10 minutes." So I played that match, ended up winning, and then I won that tournament. I beat Nadal, Zverev, Wawrinka, some of the best players in the world, and probably one of the best results of my life. And that was just literally, I was just going back to my room, partying every night. But it wasn't even partying. It wasn't even for the enjoyment of doing it with your mates. I didn't even know anyone I was with, and just doing it all again, like waking up hungover and just going out there and playing. And obviously Australian media was saying, oh yeah, he's doing fine. But I was actually in the worst spot of my career.
That was just to mask what was going on, was it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was a mask. Everyone just assumed that I was doing well. But my close friends, my friend Daniel, he's my best friend and my agent. He was with me the whole time. And he was seeing everything that was going on. He had to have my location on his phone because he didn't know which house I was going to be at, where I would have ended up each day, each night. It was pretty scary. It's pretty scary.
Like, talk about going out drinking. When you were talking about that, my mind sort of just went to John Jones.
Yeah.
John Jones, he was so many reports about how he would just go on a bender a weigh in, fight, win world championships. And when you're in that stage, was it like a necessity to do that things, or was it just like, this is how I'm going to cope with it? Did you feel like you needed to sort of keep up an appearance, or was it just, this is my coping mechanism?
It was just, I think I was just so miserable. Like, I was just so miserable. Like, I just felt, the reason I started, I think, drinking and doing all the drugs was because, I don't know, I was just like so miserable all the time. Like, I would train and play at such a high level that it was almost an outlet, obviously, to deal with the pressure, I think, at times. But well, I've been dealing with so much pressure since I was like 17, and I still deal with it to this day. Every time I walk on court, people expect something from me. So I deal with that fine, I think. It's more just, I hated my life. Like, I wasn't able to trust anyone. I fell out with my family. I pushed all my good friends away. I was just going through so much that I was just like, kind of just took my mind off it. And I literally was just killing myself, literally. At Wimbledon, my dad woke up after I came out, I came back home from a night out. My dad was just next to me, just crying, basically just saying, look, like, you got to stop all this. Like, you just got to stop it. And that's when kind of clicked to me. My dad never cries. Like, he's a strong man. He, he gets disappointed easily, which is almost worse. But when he started crying, I was like, I got to stop. Like, I got to really fix this and turn this around. And I stand here today, and I just can't believe that I'm here feeling the way I feel, what I've achieved, and able to just speak so freely about it. It's insane. From 2 years ago, I never thought I'd be in this position.